Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakwadash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word and truth. This is the Brother Rai with another video, and I'm going to be using an article from activistpost.com titled, Secret FBI Program Now Jailing Activists for Speaking Out Against Police Brutality on Facebook. So you brothers should already see where this video is going. And look at this Jake here in his pro-African conscious, I'm woke attire. We can see your game playing a mile away at this point, Esau. You just don't have the juice anymore. You're gonna have to try a lot harder. Dallas, Texas. When militarized FBI agents clad in tactical gear raided the home of Rakeem BLAGOON in December 2017, forcing him and his 15-year-old son outside in their underwear on the cold and windy night as agents ransacked his residence, he thought it had to be a mistake. In an exclusive report by The Guardian, BLAGOON explains that he was stunned to later learn that he was under investigation for domestic terrorism and had been under law enforcement surveillance for years. Incredibly, BLAGOON's arrest and the FBI raid on his home were partially due to a simple and constitutionally protected Facebook post that was critical of police. It's tyranny at its finest, BLAGOON 34 told The Guardian. I have not been doing anything illegal for them to have surveillance on me. I have not hurt anyone or threatened anyone. BLAGOON was imprisoned for 5 months and denied bail while U.S. attorneys attempted to frivolously prosecute him on accusations of being an illegal gun owner and a threat to law enforcement, only later to be exonerated on both trumped-up allegations. So as you can see, this Jake here was arrested partially for posting a comment on Facebook that was critical of police brutality. And that's something we talk about on the highways and byways, how these police are just modern-day Roman legionnaires that are abusing their power and abusing the people, chiefly you so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans. But also we talk about how the U.S. government is the tyranny of the world, causing all the problems, and that all it does is goes around and rapes, robs, and murders all these other nations around the world. Much more severe than just talking about police brutality. So you can see, brothers, through this, they're building up a case to come against us and eventually get us off those streets, which is first and foremost through the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But where it said, where is it? Only later to be exonerated on both trumped-up allegations. You can expect Esau to come down on a lot of you brothers with trumped-up allegations. Just the other night, I was watching a video by a brother who got a call from what could assumably have been a CIA or FBI agent who was threatening him with a long-term prison sentence and also saying, I heard you were into little girls, trumped-up charges, trying to bring up this deceit and, what's that word I'm looking for? Trying to bring up deceit and I'll just say lies and stuff like that against the brothers to again get them trumped up charges, so when they come against them they can show to the public the reasons for them taking us off the streets and putting us in jail. Oh, look at them, they're pedophiles, they're rapists, they're terrorists, they're black identity extremists, such things like that. Foreign Policy reported that the entire case has ominous implications and overtones of 60s and 70s style Cointelpro, as BLAGOON is believed to be the first person prosecuted and known to have been targeted under the secret U.S. surveillance effort to identify and track suspected black identity extremists, a broad and nebulous term that civil rights advocates warn can be used to target and chill constitutionally protected political activism. And I'm going to go to a quick description of Cointelpro. Counterintelligence Program, 1956 to 1971, was a series of covert and at times illegal projects conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting domestic political organizations. FBI records show that Cointelpro resources targeted groups and individuals that the FBI deemed subversive, which is definitely what we're considered a subversive group, including the Communist Party USA anti-Vietnam War organizers, activists of the Civil Rights Movement, or Black Power movement, which can be considered a black identity extremist today, such as Martin Luther King Jr. and the Black Panther Party, feminist organizations, independence movements such as Puerto Rican independence groups like the Young Lords, and a variety of organizations that were part of the broader left. The program also targeted white supremacist groups including the Ku Klux Klan, nationalist groups including Irish Republicans, and Cuban exiles were also targeted. So you can see Esau's dusting off this Cointelpro program to bring it back today. And a lot of people will think, oh, they're going against patriot groups and the new Black Panther Party and stuff like that, which is all, again, just a cover to come at us because we're the only ones speaking the 100% truth out there. And the elites know that the more we push the vibration of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, the more it hastens the downfall of Esau's rulership, which is the last thing he wants. He's not ready to serve that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery. According to the exclusive report from The Guardian, in a leaked August 2017 report from the FBI's Domestic Terrorism Analysis Unit, officials claimed that there had been a resurgence in ideologically motivated, violent criminal activity stemming from African Americans' perceptions of police brutality. And what caught my attention here was a resurgence in ideologically motivated. You brothers know that we've been put on the Southern Poverty Law Center's Black Identity Extremist Hate Group list, which were neither black nor a hate group. We're a truth group because all we're doing is preaching the Bible and showing how these prophecies are about to come to pass very shortly. But that could be considered ideologically motivated, which in a sense is why they put us on that Black Identity Extremist Group list in the first place, because we do preach against the downfall of this kingdom, America, Mystery Babylon, and that the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And to a carnal-minded person who isn't paying attention to what we're saying, they'll think, oh, that's hate speech and terrible stuff like that. The counterterrorism assessment provided minimal data or evidence of threats against police, but discussed a few isolated incidents, notably the case of Micah Johnson, who killed 5 officers in Texas. The report sparked backlash from the civil rights group and some Democrats who feared the government would use the broad designation to prosecute activists and groups like Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter is just a George Soros-funded front group to rabble-rouse. It's all BS. Not so coincidentally, Balagoon is a longtime political activist, is a longtime political activist as the co-founder of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club and Guerrilla Mainframe. Both groups advocate for the rights of black gun owners and fight against police brutality. You jakes need to stop using that black label. You're not black, you're a Hebrew Israelite. But with you using that label, that's how they're going to get you on that Black Identity Extremist list and come after you, as well as they're coming after the Hebrew Israelites and send you to those concentration camps and have some fun with you. It was revealed when Special Agent Aaron Keeley testified in court that the FBI began surveillance of BLAGOON after he participated in a rally against police violence in Austin, Texas in March 2015. The FBI first became aware of the protest from a video posted by InfoWars, Keeley said. BLAGOON said he was stunned to learn that information from InfoWars was used as the basis for their investigation. They're using a conspiracy theorist video as a reason to justify their tyranny. That is a big insult. Ironically, no mention of any specific actions by BLAGOON was ever brought up by Keeley, who instead testified about protesters' anti-police statements such as oink oink bang bang and the only good pig is a pig that's dead. The Guardian reports that despite making no mention of BLAGOON's actions at the rally in court, Keeley did discuss Facebook posts by BLAGOON in which he called a suspect in the killing of a police officer a hero and expressed solidarity for the man accused of killing police when he wrote, "They deserve what they got." Keeley was later forced to admit that despite his fear-mongering about BLAGOON's free expression of thought on social media, the FBI did not have evidence of any specific threats about harming police. BLAGOON told The Guardian that at the time he made those Facebook posts, he was venting about the anger he felt surrounding the numerous unjustified killings of unarmed black men and women. He said that out of being disgusted with media largely portraying these killings as justified, he wrote those posts to mimic their reactions to our killings. And that's how Esau is going to come at us. He's going to put a lot of these events in the news and come up to us on the highways and byways and comment in our videos to elicit a violent carnal response. So he can say, look at these black nationalists that hate white people. They talk about the death of the so-called white man and the death of America. We got to move against them. They could be a terrorist threat like Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Look at their names. They even sound like Muslim names, and they call on this Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. That sounds a lot like Allah to me. So brothers, just be what's that word I'm looking for? Be very circumspect in the way you conduct yourself on the highways and the byways, and on your Facebook and Instagram posts, and on your YouTube comment boards. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to get a little heated and get in the spirit and really get into these devils, but just watch what you say, because at this point, as we're getting closer and closer to the end, they're going to use any little thing to come against us. Where was I? In a jailhouse letter to The Guardian, BLAGOON wrote that he was a prisoner of war on speech and the right to bear arms who had been abducted by the FBI. He noted that he was not targeted for being a violent threat, but for promoting black community groups and battling government abuse, adding, "Violence is the method of our oppressor. Our method is hard work, love, and unity." And while we're not a black community group or anything like that, I can agree where he says violence is the method of our oppressor, because Esau is a carnal man, and our method is hard work, love for the 144,000 and the righteous 1/3, and unity of only those brothers. We don't care about you 2/3 out there in the other camps or in the world. We're only concerned with the sincere brothers and sisters who are going to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. And that brings me to my first scripture on Amos 8 and 11, a one we like to use a lot. "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh." And you can see that day is quickly approaching, with them talking about banning the Bible, and what just happened to this Jake, to where he was one of the reasons for his arrest was that he had comments on police brutality. And like I said earlier, we talk about police brutality, but we also talk about the downfall of this kingdom, America, Mystery Babylon. So that's a major reason for them to come against us. And once they do get us off those streets, and things really start popping off, all these people out here are going to be looking for answers, but they're not going to find them. They were too late in getting that oil for their lamps. So it's just too bad, so sad. While the prosecution's case against BLAGOON completely unraveled, it is an ominous indicator of a renewed and brutal assault against political activism by government forces. They were really desperate, BLAGOON said. When his home was raided, police confiscated his .38 caliber handgun, an unloaded AK-style assault rifle, and his book Negroes with Guns by the civil rights leader Robert F. Williams, according to The Guardian. This is pretty much like Stalin 1950. You show me the man, I show you the crime. The entire idea of a black identity extremist movement, a term coined by law enforcement, is unsupported by the government's own data, but that has never stopped the government from persecuting political activists, especially ones espousing a black empowerment ideology. The failed prosecution and clear persecution of BLAGOON has drawn clear parallels to previous efforts by the U.S. government to discredit, disrupt, and monitor political activists during the civil rights era, particularly the FBI counterintelligence program called Cointelpro, which targeted Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, the NAACP, and the Black Panther Party. And a lot of reason a lot of those civil rights groups failed back then was because they were carnally based. They tried to build a kingdom within a kingdom, but that's not how the Most High wants it. The Most High wants you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. And that's why this new awakening is going to succeed, because it's spiritual. It's nothing Esau can do about it. He can't stop the building of the house of David or that third temple. Michael German, a fellow with the Brennan Center for Justice's Liberty and National Security Program and former FBI agent, said the BIE assessed